Hello, hello. I wanted to make a little video and talk a little bit about dysphoria and weight, specifically those two in combination. So if that is something that might be triggering for you, might make you uncomfortable, please feel free to just not watch this video. If you do decide to watch it, or if you don't realize that this might be a trigger for you and you get uncomfortable, please reach out to a friend or do something that will make you feel better again and keep yourself safe. Because that's important. I don't want my content to negatively impact anybody. I'm trying to spread awareness and encourage people to think about things. I don't want to be harming anybody with my content. So I do hope that you keep yourself safe. And if the topic of dysphoria and weight are difficult for you, then just don't watch this. Go watch something fun. Go watch some cat videos instead. It'll be better for you. So the reason I wanted to talk a little bit about dysphoria and weight as a combination is because for me, those two things intersected very heavily as soon as I started puberty. So I was born female. So I went through female puberty starting at about age 11. Until then, I was running around in just shorts. I really did not like wearing clothes that much as a child, probably because I had sensory issues. So I did not enjoy the feeling of clothes on my skin a lot of the time. I still don't. I mean, if I could, I would probably walk around my house with just boxer shorts most of the time. Unfortunately, there are windows and neighbors, so it's easier now that I've had top surgery, because now there's nothing bad, society bad, to be showing when I take my shirt off, but So at around the age of 11, I began growing a chest. I went through female puberty. And as soon as this started to happen, I got extremely uncomfortable. I realized my body was doing a thing I did not like at all. It was doing something different than the boys that were my friends. And it was doing something that seemed to make the girls that were my friends very excited. They were all excited, to get their first bra, to go bra shopping, to wear t-shirts, and they were like, look, oh my God, I have a chest. And some friends were like, oh my God, yours are already so big. I hope mine get that big. Or, preteen and teenage talk about how your body is changing, very normal. But for me, just the topic itself, just the word bra, it made me deeply, deeply uncomfortable, because it reminded me of the fact that this thing was happening to my body that I did not want. And I don't know how many times I laid in bed in the evening and just looked at it and just wished it would just go away. And instead, they kept growing, and unfortunately, my genetics mean that they grew relatively sizable. I had a D cup at one point. But for me, it was absolutely horrendous. And then I began getting, my shape was being affected by puberty. So I started to become more curvy. I got some hips, I got a big butt. Well, big. I got a girl butt, which compared to my skinny frame as a child was a shock. Suddenly the things that I wanted to wear, they fit differently, and I had this shape that was doing things that I was unfamiliar with, and all I wanted to do was hide it. So I went and I bought the baggiest pants I could find, the baggiest sweaters I could find, and that's what I started wearing. It wasn't because that was my fashion, it was because I was trying to hide the things that were changing about me. And because I was trying to hide these things, and because these changes in, where the fat is on your body and your shape changes, I started feeling like I was fat, even though I was not. I look back at photos and honestly, I was not. I was perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. But I felt so deeply uncomfortable in that body that I began to shy away from activities. I didn't want to do sports anymore because it meant running around and, your breasts move. I didn't want to go swimming anymore with my friends because it would mean having to wear a bikini. There were a lot of things I cut myself off from because I was uncomfortable about my body and because I was having severe dysphoria. And at the time, I didn't really understand why I hated my body so much. I just knew that I did. Um, I didn't have the words for it at the time. I didn't realize that, like I know now that I'm trans non binary, I didn't realize that it was the having breasts and the being perceived as a girl that was what was causing me so much pain. I just knew that I was unhappy. Um, so as I grew up, I started gaining a bit of weight slowly over time because I was shying more and more away from these activities and covering my body more and more. And to be honest, at that point, I didn't care anymore because I couldn't be any more miserable with my body than I already was, if that makes sense. I already felt uncomfortable. I already hated it. Then it doesn't really matter anymore if you gain 5 more kilos or 10 more kilos. You hate your body, you hate your body. That's just how it is. Um, then at one point, I discovered binders. Before that, I was just wearing sports bras, really tight ones, usually a size too small, and just kind of compressing my chest. Then I discovered binders, and that made my confidence boost quite nicely because suddenly I could have a flatter chest. And it was around this time that I started to develop the language that I needed to talk about my issues. The language like non-binary, like dysphoria, like being trans, everything that comes with being trans. And I began to look back and I realized how many of my issues were related at the core to the fact that my body changed when I hit puberty and it changed in a way I really did not like. It made me realize that it was normal that when all my friends were getting excited about going bra shopping, for me, just the mention of the word bra was a horrifying thing. And when my friends were excited to, buy a new bikini and go to the beach, all I wanted to do was cover my body. It's normal. It's because I was living in a body that I didn't feel like was mine, a body that didn't feel right. So I went through university, gained more weight there, mostly at that time because I was drinking alcohol um, and eating student food. So then when I stopped doing that and I lost some of the weight, I got back to the core of the issue and thinking more about my gender identity and realizing that I did not want to live the rest of my life feeling like I was in a body that wasn't right, which is what put me on the track for top surgery. So I spent quite a bit of time, I spent about a year talking to a psychologist around the topic of dysphoria and the surgery, sorting everything out with the insurance, and then I finally got it approved. And since I've had top surgery, I still have moments where I just look down and I just realize that it's flat. And it's like something clicks inside of me every time. And it just tells me, this is me. This is the me that I was always supposed to be. I was never supposed to be a version of me that had breasts. I was never supposed to be a version of me that was outwardly very, girly. That's not me. This is me. And I still have dysphoria, of course. Um, I still have dysphoria about the shape of my hips a lot of the time. I mean, I don't take testosterone at the moment, so I haven't changed anything about the fat distribution on my body or anything like that. So I still get dysphoria, but it is significantly less now since I've had top surgery. And this summer, I'm going to be able to go swimming and wear just board shorts, which is something that I have wanted to do again since I was about 11. Since I started having to wear something because my breasts were starting to grow. I haven't enjoyed going swimming ever since then. Um, there's a lot of things that I realize I've missed out on because for all this time I was so deeply uncomfortable with myself. And I'm relieved that I'm now in a place where I am a lot more comfortable and where I'm not scared to show off my chest and my scars. And if anybody wants to ask me what my scars are about, I'll happily tell them. But to me, having that surgery and having these scars is so much better than having the feeling that I'm living in a body that doesn't belong to me, that isn't right for me. Because that's essentially what it was like all this time before then. Um, so if you're someone who's never experienced dysphoria, that might seem very strange to you. How can you feel so strongly about a part of your body that you want to surgically remove it? And honestly, I don't have any answers for you. I don't have a way to make a person who's never experienced dysphoria see what dysphoria is like. All I can do is tell you my experience and tell you what it's like as a person who does experience it. And how top surgery has basically saved me from being miserable and missing out on a lot of things. And I have a little bit of regret about all the things that I missed out on, but I forgive myself because I know why I missed out on those things. Because right now, if I still had breasts, if I had to, if I was invited to a pool party, I wouldn't go. Now, after top surgery, if I was invited to a pool party, I'd go. I'd wear my shorts. I'd I'd lie in the sun with my chest out. And that's how life-saving and life-changing this type of gender affirming surgery can be, which is why, in my opinion, it needs to be available, covered by insurance to everybody. It needs to be a thing that people have access to, even in areas that don't have insurance. I feel like things like this that can save someone's life and save, your body is the most important thing that you have. You have to live in it every single day. So if there is something about your body that is wrong, that you were born in a body that went through the wrong kind of puberty for you, or just has features that don't work for you, you should be able to change that. You should be able to make yourself comfortable in the body that you live in. So in my opinion, anyone who is trans, non-binary, who requires surgery, I think it's horrendous that people have to resort to GoFundMe and begging for donations to be able to get this surgery that will save their life. Because it wears you down. Living in a body that you hate, it wears you down. It's horrendous. It is not something I wish on anybody. So, yeah, that's my little talk. That's my lived experience of dysphoria, of top surgery. And here I am now. My chest is flat. I have my scars that run here. And I'm happy. I'm happy with it now. And the scars are just a part of my journey. So I'm fine with those as well. I'm not embarrassed by them. And that's it. That's my little chat on dysphoria. And yeah, there we go. Have a good one.